Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Super Game Brothers podcast, a weekly podcast all about board games and video games, hosted by two brothers who love both of those things. I think I like board games a little more than Devin, just based on the wall behind me. But, you know, sometimes Devin plays a lot more video games than me, so we kind of even each other up.
That is very true, yeah.
Yeah.
But you've got me to enjoy quite a few board games, which I would have normally been a little more hesitant to try.
Yeah, we even just played one a few minutes ago.
Sure did.
So, yeah, I think it's good. Devin streams on Twitch.
Wow.
Player 4. He's my younger brother. My name's David. I don't stream on Twitch. I don't do that.
Maybe you should.
Maybe. Could I promote myself like in your stream?
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. That sounds good.
I'll hear all about it. So you're gonna ask me how I'm doing. I'm doing pretty good. Trying to decide if winter or summer's coming next.
Oh, me too.
I don't know. Last week I was sunbathing, enjoying the hornet's nest under the chair I was sitting on.
Wow.
Today I was looking for my winter coat almost.
Yeah. It was very cold today and yesterday. I went to Topgolf today. Had a little bit of snow trickle down with the rain.
Wow.
And it was just pouring rain. But yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what's going on. Also cold temperatures, like low 60s, like high 50s.
We had the craziest thunder the other day. I was sitting there and I was like a thunderstorm's coming. You know I get a little weird about those.
Yeah, I forgot to tell Mel, but yeah.
I'm like, wait a second. For some reason, ever since I was a kid, fun fact for anybody listening, I have this weird thing with the anticipation of extremely loud noises. It wigs out my body.
I think it's common. Like other people have it too. You're not.
Do they?
You're not a weirdo.
I think mine's like the extreme, where
it might be.
My body says no. Let's focus on nothing else until this is resolved. If there's a balloon at a birthday party, let's hide the balloon in the closet so the kids can't pop it. You know what I'm saying?
How do you resolve the lightning?
You don't. What I did was I was like, okay, I'm hearing a little bit of thunder. Let me go put in some AirPods, put on the sound dampening.
Yeah.
No joke. I walk out into the living room. Our brother's like, I don't think the storm's that bad. Within 5 minutes, the house was shaking and baking. No joke. I walked upstairs. It was either mom or dad said that was the loudest thunder I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I was like, good thing I was prepared then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been pretty intense out here. Very windy, hot, cold. I don't like that my car has to sit outside all the time. It's just getting worn down by the weather. But we don't have a 4-car garage, so...
Yeah, that's true. You don't. I would kill for a 3-car garage, but hey, you know, some people would kill for a 1-car garage.
That's true. Yep. I'm just gonna build like a little tent on the driveway. See if mom and dad care. Just put it out there.
Yeah. Protect that baby from the UV rays and the snow.
The sun just takes a toll on things. So does the weather.
Oh, it does. Yeah. The sun destroys stuff.
It rains on the road, then the road heats up. The road expands. The rain doesn't expand. The rain gets sucked into the asphalt. The road turns to pieces. I hit the pothole. I'm at the tire shop. It's a whole rotation every year.
That's the circle of life.
My goodness,
it is.
Of
the potholes.
Yeah. Man, some of them are intense.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
There's some that I've dodged in my car, and I thought if I hit that...
You might, like, high center and never get out.
Oh, it might be the end.
Yeah, we do have crazy ones here. Like you said, with, like, the very low temperatures and snow and ice in the winter, and then very high temperatures in, like, the, 100s. I think we occasionally hit 110, but, we're high 90s to 100s in the summer. So it's just too much change in temperature, I think.
It is, yeah.
They're like fixing a lot of roads around my neighborhood right now. And I'm like, yay, there won't be potholes anymore. But then you have to deal with the construction for 9 months and like take detours. And there's all kinds of traffic around my house right now. It's way harder to get here than it used to be.
For sure, yeah. This place is very busy now.
Yeah.
But it's a cool place to live. It's very beautiful. I understand why people move here.
Once the construction's gone, then it'll be easier to get to my street. So.
The construction will never be gone.
Once the construction on my street is done. But yeah, you're right. Cool. Anything else new for you, Devin? Besides the potholes?
Just been watching the NBA playoffs. That's been enjoyable.
Really fun games.
Yeah, they've been a great time. Really big upsets, shocking. Jason Tatum.
Oh yeah, that's him and what was the other dude's name? Who did the same exact thing with the same
Dan Marino.
Yeah, Damian Lillard.
That happened to him just barely?
Just like 2 weeks earlier in the playoffs as well.
Unreal.
Same thing. He tried to put his foot back to try and extend forward to get the ball, and thing snaps.
Wow.
I don't know if Tatum's was a full rupture, because I think I haven't read, but I know he had surgery on it. But Damian Lillard's is so bad he had surgery and he'll miss the entire next season.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy injury. Like Kobe had it. Yeah, crazy injury.
It is crazy. These games have been so unique because the underdog is winning. Yeah, everyone's like, this team can't beat this team, and then it's 3-0 or 3-1, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, the Knicks, man.
Yeah, the Knicks are going crazy, and they'll probably win that series now. And you don't like them to win the series because someone got injured, but they might have won it either way. They might have
anyways, yeah.
They were doing great.
They were.
Been doing that. That's been a lot of fun, trying to see some movies. Mother's Day just happened. I spent some time with...
Boston won. I was just looking because it was just going. Boston won, so they're...
Oh, wow.
3-2 now. They didn't get...
Crazy.
Lose 4-1.
Is Tatum the anchor? Is he holding the team back? Is he not letting this boat cross the ocean?
Yeah, it's probably his fault. My neighbor hates Jason Tatum. I don't really like him either, but he is a good player. Mm-hmm. I just think he thinks he's better than he really is. But
yeah. What else is going on in my life? Nothing. So, okay. What about you?
Not too much. I went golfing at 6:30 a.m. Monday morning. Worst round of golf I think I've played in 20 years.
Awesome.
It was really rough. Oh man, I was grumpy. The hard part about golf, I was telling my wife about this, if you're playing basketball or volleyball, a team sport, and your team struggles a bit, some days it'll be you that's struggling a little bit, some days it's other people. Mm-hmm. But if you're struggling, they can pick up the slack, and if they're struggling, you can pick up the slack, and since the team is working together, it's a little less frustrating when you have a bad day. Still frustrating, but in golf, it's just you, and there's no one else to blame or that can help you. Someone can give you a pointer or something, but it's man, you need to figure your own stuff out. And because of that, it's so much more frustrating to me when I feel like it's all in my control, but at the same time, sometimes you don't know how to fix it. And luckily, I went to Topgolf that same night, and I got these cool stickers that go on clubs, and they just mark the ball, where the ball hit, which is excellent feedback. Because until you get used to what it feels like to hit it off the different spots of the club, being able to visually see it makes a big difference. And so I think we determined I was standing too close to the ball, so I was hitting it too inside, and which would cause it to sometimes hit the stem, they call it the hosel. Anyway, so that was really helpful. So get those stickers if you're struggling with your golf game. But other than that, yeah, life's going pretty good. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, all is well.
I'm wearing a hat for the first time this week. Probably the first time in a long time.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I'm good at pulling off hats. I think my head...
You look great.
Thanks. My head's too big for most hats. So this bad boy's on the last strap and about to burst at the seams.
You have no circulation to your brain.
Yeah, I'm gonna faint halfway through this episode.
Perfect.
And if I take it off, I have a crazy line there for hours.
Oh, same. Yeah, pretty much permanent line for me.
Permanent line. So I don't know. I don't know what hats are, but it's kind of nice. I rolled out of bed for that golf round on Monday, and I was like, I don't have time to do my hair, and I don't really want to. I'll throw on this hat. So I'm in kind of hat mode at the moment.
Oh, yeah. One of these days, we're all just going to be bald intentionally, and we'll just wear hats.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
I do like a good hat. I got a hat at my work retreat a few weeks ago, It's like a very, very, very light teal.
Awesome.
And I know you're really into like the light, subtle colors right now. I think you'd really like the hat. It does say Tava, like in tiny letters, right in the middle. Very cool hat. Hats can go one of two ways to me. Some are absolutely terrible.
Oh man.
But then like some are like really good. Like I really like hats right now with a dark color with this like white line kind of on the base
I
of
don't
the
know
brim.
if I've ever owned one that has that line.
I feel like that's kind of a popular model.
I feel like it's good, honestly, for golf and sailing.
Sailing, yeah.
I feel like the white lines, like,
It's
know
like-
how to drive this boat.
Yeah, I look a little like Gilligan from Gilligan's Island.
Yes. I can row this canoe, or I know how to drive your boat.
There you go. I could see that. Yeah, I do feel like it looks like a sailing kind of roper thing. So yeah, I don't know. Hats and golf. Nothing really else new from Mowed the Lawn. Put some prodiamine down. That's a pre-emergent broadleaf pest, or not pest, weed control.
Wow.
So looks a lot better.
Do you like wasting money on that every year so the weeds continue to grow?
No, I freaking hate yard work. Like just yesterday, I was talking to my friends and I was like, man, when we did our backyard, I wish we would have done like 1/3 as much grass as we did.
Absolutely. Yes.
Just so that it like takes 10 minutes to mow. And
you can spot treatment that too. It's like,
Yeah.
this small area, we take really good care of this.
right. And they've got like their play set and the trampoline that doesn't necessarily need to be on grass anyways. Like I could get like some rubber or something.
No, it's really fun when you go to mow the lawn and you have to move the trampoline halfway through.
Yeah, I just didn't move it. And so
No,
like,
that's exactly what I would do.
the grass under the tramp's like 1.5 feet tall. So
No, the reason I
I
ask
hate
is
yard
it
work.
just seems like weeds never stop
Yeah.
until there's no grass. So we try to do all these things every year and we're like spending money. They're like, oh, my yard's gonna look so good this year.
Yeah.
It ain't
It's
for most of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And for the people who like our brother-in-law has an excellent
This
lawn.
looks great.
Looks
yeah.
amazing.
Mhm.
But the amount of time and money like he spends on the lawn is crazy.
It's gotta be pretty up there.
Mm-hmm. Like his lawnmower, I think itself was like $1,000 or something, and it's like maybe even more.
Has no motor.
Has no motor. It's just like a push one, but that can cut super short.
Yeah.
And he has to get like the sand and make sure it's level enough so that he can use that super short cutter, or else it will like zing into the dirt. you know?
Yeah, that's right.
So you got to deal with that. And then he's probably doing a lot more than me with like the weed protection and all kinds of sprays. And so I don't know. I just feel like it's too time consuming for it to be perfect. So I do like just a little bit for it to not look terrible.
Yeah.
Because that's all the time I want to spend. I don't want to spend any more.
Yeah, I'm that way as well. I'm like trying to figure out, did I feed myself today? Am I happy today? I don't care about that weird lawn plant.
It's true. Like, well, it's a little yellower over there.
I don't
That's
think
fine.
anybody's driving by going, that guy's got that yellow patch. I don't
right.
think so.
As long as I'm killing most of the weeds and like the lawn's green,
Mhm.
then I think that's okay. People are driving by and they're not saying like, I don't know. If it was just all 4-foot weeds, then I think they'd be like, what the heck's this guy doing? But I think they drive past and they don't think anything, which is fine.
That's great. Yeah.
I don't
Mhm.
even necessarily know that I want them to drive past and say, that's the nicest lawn I've ever seen in my life. That'd be kind of cool. But I don't know that I care enough.
Yeah, I don't know either. But good on you if you do.
Yeah.
It's
I would really like to rip out the grass in my backyard and just put a humongous putting and chipping green back there. That's turf.
Might as well.
Turf, so I don't have to deal with the maintenance.
I just
That'd
cement
be
the
nice.
whole backyard so that way if your swing isn't doing that good, you'll fix it.
Yeah, by getting a new club when that one's bent.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Oh, I also, last talk about golf, I extended my golf club, my putter, by 2 inches because I was doing some research. All of my clubs are extended except for my putter. I don't know what I was thinking. What am I thinking?
I don't know.
So I extended that by
Unreal.
2 inches with some steel and epoxy, ripped the grip off of it. But you have this cool cutting. It's like a razor blade utility knife that like you push out, you know?
Yes.
Like
Mhm.
but instead of being like triangle shaped, it's kind of hook shaped so that it like hooks around the grip. It doesn't like cut and scratch the steel, and then you just like pull up and cuts inside the hook. So the blade's on the inside of the hook. Kind of cool.
That is cool.
Take that one off, and then I put on a Super Stroke 5.0, which I think is the biggest one they make. It's got to be that big around. Like, he a big boy.
That's amazing.
I have big hands, and I did think my other one was like too small. Like sometimes like you feel like you have to like crush your hand in there just to have the contact on it. So it feels nice.
Yeah, I feel like there's something to that. I think that maybe it will actually increase your putt. It reminds me of fitness. Like they say, like if you're gonna do a pull up, stop focusing on gripping the bar so hard because it becomes this forearm workout. They're like loosen your grip a little bit and you just drive with your elbows. It's the same thing. Like maybe I'm just squeeze my hands and alter the direction of the club, or can I just flat palm my putter all the way through? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just holding it like this.
Might as well.
So I'll show you that when we're done. But yeah, golf, man, it's the best. My hat is the hat for our golf league. We play like one round every 2 weeks and just keep a little score of points, and whoever has the most points in the end wins. Like, I think it's like, it might be like $600. I don't know.
That's amazing.
So it'll be fun. I'm not gonna win because I'm like quite a few levels of mediocre below the rest of them. But it's still fun. Anyways, Devin, moving on to Soupy
Mover Brothers.
Soupy Movie Brothers. Do you have any soup while you were watching your movies?
I ate a whole large popcorn at the theater last week.
Oh, nice.
With ease, by the way.
Yeah.
And then I felt like garbage the whole night. But
you did?
Yeah, it kind of made me sick. But
do you think it's because there was like, because I get this popcorn from Costco that I love, and I think the reason I love it is like it tastes good, but it doesn't. It's like really light. Like it doesn't feel like they've just like coated it with oil and butter.
Yeah, that's the issue though. Is I just think it's so good when it's coated. You know what I mean? When they throw that butter on, as long as that's not too wet, I'm all about it.
It is. It is nice.
It is nice,
but
yeah.
It does sit heavier for sure.
Yeah, I went to the theater. When was this? Maybe Saturday? Maybe? I don't know what I think it was over the weekend.
Okay.
I went by myself. I went to the old theater at the district where we used to go.
Oh, the Megaplex.
Yeah, so I went to a different franchise of theater, different business.
What'd you think? I'm like,
it's a good time.
I'm Team Cinemark.
I feel like I'm Team Cinemark as well, but I had a gift card, and what is cool about Megaplex is the lobby is just massive, and it just felt immersive, and I was like, this is a cool place. I like being in this building.
And they do have a couple like screens in there that I think are bigger than like even XD at Cinemark. Like those front two, when you first go through, they're like 10 and 11, like right in front, I think. They're big, like almost like IMAX size, I think.
Yeah,
but I don't pay for that. Like I'm not going to that.
I try, if I have gift cards, I'll go to those nicer rooms. But I had this idea about Megaplex, and I was like, their screens are darker, you know, and it doesn't look as good. And I was correct. So I go in there, I get my popcorn. I'm sitting at the very back, and there were a lot of dark scenes in this show. I went to a movie called Sinners.
Yeah, it's about vampires, right? Kind of.
It ended up being that, yes. Yeah. But they surprised you because I didn't watch a trailer.
I saw it in the trailer.
So. I knew that it had reviewed well, and I was like, I'm going to go see this. So
I do. Michael B. Jordan. So.
And we've got this, for some reason, whoever's in charge of the picture settings is ramping the contrast up so high that any dark scene was like, the whole scene's dark, and all you can see is out the light coming through the windows. It's like all you're seeing is windows, and the scene that you're supposed to be watching is just black. I couldn't see like anyone's faces for a big portion. I was like, this is weird. So
kind of reminds me of like when you first turn on a video game and they have like the brightness settings, and they're like, turn this all the way down until like you can't see the symbol anymore. And I feel like half the time when I do that, like the whole screen is black. Almost.
Oh yeah. They want
like, do you want me to play this and not be able to see my character?
Yeah. So I just closed my eyes and listened to the whole movie.
Sweet.
No, it was a good movie. Honestly, super cool. Basically starts out as Western style movie. A little bit about like religion and different things, kind of, but also like about business and buying properties and starting businesses and just the intensity of time before this time.
Yeah.
And very just Western. And I was like, this is cool. I like this vibe. It's fun. It's unique. It's cool to see the cars and the shops and how the people interact, yada, yada. And then hour and 10 minutes in, all of a sudden, these people got different eyes and demons are coming. I was like, what the heck is this?
Wow.
But you know, I like my horror movies, so I was all about it.
You were all.
I opened my eyes finally and watched the last.
Like, wait, that doesn't sound like a human.
I watched the last half hour. It's honestly kind of a good movie. It was cool.
I've heard it's good. Does Michael B. Jordan play two brothers?
He does. Yeah. And it seems like 5 years ago, they really had a hard time putting the same person in the same scene. That was unseen. If it was there, it was like, whoa, this movie's doing something unique. But
is he in the same scene with himself multiple times?
Yes.
Oh.
And it looks like he's there with himself.
Oh, okay.
It was done very well. I was pleasantly surprised.
Huh.
A very strange movie. Fun. Unique. Genre bending, I guess. I don't know if that's a term. But I enjoyed it, and I would recommend it to some people.
Who you recommended?
Probably not children.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
But let's see.
I almost went to it today, but
oh, really?
With my friend John, but then we decided to go to Topgolf instead. Yeah, I've only heard good things. So, have you seen the trailer for Superman? Just came out today.
I saw a trailer for Superman like a month ago.
Yeah, I think there's like the full new trailer. Like
I haven't seen
that
the
was
full
a teaser.
One, but I will say something about the Superman trailer.
I like.
When I watched it in theaters, I was in like the XD Loud theater, and that trailer came on, and it shows like maybe he has a dog.
He's laying in the snow.
Yes. Yeah. So I was like, this is cool. I think I know what this is. And it got really loud, and I had goosebumps through this trailer. Superman's been a favorite of mine for.
And my wife also loves Superman.
Yes, he's so good, and just love him. But anyways, I think it'll be fantastic.
Yeah, I think I watched the full new trailer today, and I think it looks really, really good. So I hope it's great. DC has struggled a little bit with their movies. I like Man of Steel, but even that one's not perfect. What am I saying? Christopher Nolan's like Batman trilogy is like the standard I hold superhero movies to, and so it's kind of hard to compare. But even like Guardians of the Galaxy, all three of those are excellent.
Truly, yeah.
I don't think they're quite Christopher Nolan Batman level as far as like epic and like great story, but they're going for a different vibe with humor and stuff. And James Gunn, who directed and wrote those, I think directed and wrote this Superman movie. So I have a bit more faith.
I honestly liked Man of Steel quite a bit. Henry Cavill kind of killed it.
Yeah, he's
to
excellent.
Me. He's fantastic. A goated specimen, crazy human. Kevin Costner.
Yeah, as the dad.
I love Kevin Costner, but he needs to get it together. He's acting like everyone on the freeway knows who he is. If Superman comes and saves him, everyone on the freeway is going to know his social security number. All he had to do was dash, grab him, fly up into the air. Everyone would be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Nice. What was that? You know what I'm saying?
It's a weird blur. And was there a guy like half a mile down the road? I don't think so.
It's just a dumb moment.
Yeah, it's kind of a tender moment, but when you think about it too long, you're like, it doesn't really make sense. Because then like 5 years later, or however much time passes, he just like kind of announces himself to the world, and everyone knows who Clark Kent is, that he's Superman, you know? So.
Yes, a goated death on that guy's part.
Yeah, he had the tornado 5 years too early.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I like Man of Steel a lot, so I'm excited for Superman. I hope it's good. The actress who is cast as Lois Lane, I don't know what else she's in, but she looks like she fits the part pretty good.
Ooh, I don't know if I've seen her.
She's in this new trailer. Like the first 30 seconds of the trailer is her interview.
Oh, you about to show it?
I have it there if you want to like. I probably won't pull any audio in, but if you want to,
I would just like to see who this is.
Yeah, see who it is. Let me see. I'll go to this. screen real quick, and yeah, here we go. If you throw that over, hopefully open on device.
I'm just curious if I've ever seen her in anything else.
Yeah, killed the audio, so that'll be good though, because then they hopefully won't copyright strike.
For audio listeners, he's talking to someone. Is this her?
That's her, yeah. I like how he looks. He looks. I don't. He doesn't. He looks like a good Superman to me, at least visually.
Agreed. And yes, she's very pretty. I like her.
Have you ever seen her before in something else?
I don't know.
I feel like I slightly recognize her face, but I can't like picture her from something else. Yeah, I think it looks cool. So watch that trailer if you haven't seen it.
I will.
We'll probably watch it right after the podcast because Devin is enraptured.
I am. I'm Lois. She's looking good.
So there you go. That just came out today, and it's in theaters on July 11th. There's actually a couple more movie things here while we're here. It probably makes more sense to talk about them now instead of later in like the video game section. If you click on Max to become, and then the two underneath it will also do. But this is just kind of funny in my opinion. HBO has been around for like what 40 years or 30 years or something. They finally come out with a subscription, like a streaming service. They call it HBO Go a few years ago, right? And then one day they're like, hey, by the way, we're going to change the name of HBO Go to Max. And everyone's like, why are you calling it Max? Why are you removing HBO? HBO is the brand. Everyone knows what HBO is. Like known for high quality stuff. Why would you remove it? Just today, Warner Brothers announces Max to become HBO Max this summer. Kind of funny.
Hasn't it already been HBO Max before?
No, it was
it's
HBO
only been
Go,
Max?
and then they changed it to Max.
Oh.
But now they're changing it back to HBO Max. So it's kind of weird.
That's funny because I call it HBO Max.
I do too. And so I guess it makes sense they're changing it just to match that. But
awesome.
I could have told you that removing HBO from HBO Max was a bad idea. So I would like the $10 million that they paid to the studio.
Yeah, I'll make sure they send it.
Yeah. So that was kind of funny more than anything. Then next up, I thought this announcement was cool. Spider Noir is premiering on Amazon Prime and Amazon MGM Plus next year in 2026. And it's based on the Nicolas Cage character in the animated Spider-Man movies. I'm not sure. There's a teaser here. I haven't clicked on it. I don't know if this is live action or animated. But from that, it looks like it might be live action.
I think it is live action. I've seen the trailer.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yes, and I swear Nick Cage was there.
Okay. I really like Nicolas Cage, at least recently. For a while, like I love him in National Treasure. And then like recently, I feel like he's been killing it. For some other movies in his past, I was like, man, can this guy act? I feel like he's really come into his own.
I went through the same phase with him. When you dabble deeply in horror films, he ends up coming up a lot.
Yeah.
There's some weird movies he's in.
Yeah, even just being in Longlegs this last year.
Yeah, like, see, that's another example. Perfect.
But I thought he did a really good job with that. Very creepy character. And Brendan Gleeson, I like him quite a bit. I don't know who Karen Rodriguez is, but I think Brendan, if I'm remembering correctly, isn't Brendan Gleeson like the, this guy. So I don't know. I will be interested in that. Spider-Man is probably my favorite superhero character. I like his world. I think he has some of the coolest like Marvel villains, with now I say that I can't think of one, but
Marvel villains
in Spider-Man's world, you got like Green Goblin and Venom and
Rhino, Vulture.
Some of those guys are dumb, but yeah,
they're very interesting.
I like those characters in Spider-Man's world, so I'm excited about that one. Then the last one is just was confirmed this week as well. The second season of Fallout is coming out in December, and the third season has already been renewed. I'm kind of surprised they're making this show very fast.
Yeah, agreed. I feel like I just watched that.
I think the first season just came out in 2024. It makes me wish that HBO had Amazon's money to like crank out The Last of Us faster.
That'd be sick.
Because this is like impressive in my opinion. I haven't watched the first season yet, but I know a lot of people have liked it. So there you go. We kind of did an expansion there for movie brothers here to start the episode.
Fallout is great.
Yeah. All right, and with that, we're going to jump into the show like normal. This is a weekly podcast all about board games and video games, what we're playing, the news, talk about games and crowdfunding. Right now, we're doing weekly discussions about HBO's season 2 of The Last of Us. So we'll be doing that after the show to have that out. We do have a Patreon as well if you'd like early access to the podcast, as well as those Last of Us episodes, like this one here. Those ones are only on our Patreon. So if you want to watch the episodes weekly with us and listen to what we have to say about them and write in your comments and all those kinds of goodies, please check out the Patreon at patreon.com/SuperGameBrothers. And then make sure you check out our giveaway. It's going on for another month or two. We're giving away a bunch of board games or a gift card. You can kind of pick, depending on what part of the world you live in or what you like to do. So make sure to join that as well. All right, Devin, that brings us to whatever our opening segment is that I don't remember. New games.
Subscriptions.
Yeah, to subscription services. We always start with Board Game Arena. And like I sometimes do, I forgot to look at this link before we started, but here we go. The Hanging Gardens is a 1 to 5 player, a battle of wits over 4 rounds to craft lush layered gardens by skillfully selecting and placing garden cards. I've never heard of that game, to be honest. I wonder who the designers are. It doesn't list them here in the paragraph. So if it had been like a... Oh, yeah, it is G. Girard and M. Verdier. Probably French would be my guess. And then another one with gardens in the title. Did I say garden? Yeah. 4 gardens. Compete for the gods in all of them. Was the subtitle that BGA added. Strategically rotate a pagoda to collect and manage resources. Okay, I do remember this one. I think it has like a tall pagoda that you rotate around and choose stuff from it. So I remember when that one came out. And then I think that we talked about Daedale last week. I'm pretty sure, because we had that in Flip 7. So a few new games on Board Game Arena, like they do every week. Fun to play games and try new games for the first time over there, because you can do it very quickly, and usually someone has built a tutorial that will teach you the game, which is cool. All right, in PlayStation land, they have announced the new games to PlayStation Plus, Extra, and Premium. They call this the game catalog. And the new games here, I think there are 10. The highlight here is one that I've almost purchased a couple of times. So we'll talk about it in a second, but we'll read through at least the list of games and maybe a sentence or two from their little blurbs. But first one is Sandland, coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and it's the creator of Dragon Ball created this kind of world, I think, that this action RPG takes place in. And you can kind of tell, like, it's a similar kind of colorful, kind of anime looking aesthetic. And I think you travel around like this sandy land in this tank kind of thing, and then you're also fighting. I don't think it's turn-based. It says action RPG, which makes me think it's not. So I've wanted to try that one out, so I'm excited to play it, included with my subscription next week on Tuesday, which will be like the 18th, 19th, 20th.
Yes.
That sound about right? I think that's right. All right, so that was Sandland.
Soul Hackers 2. Is this the one you said you wanted, or you wanted Sandland?
No, I'm going to try Sandland.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about this game, but it says explore a dark supernatural realm and investigate the world's end in this sci-fi neo-noir mystery.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know anything about it either, but it's a sequel. There must have been a first one.
Must have been good enough.
Yeah, there you go. Man, this mouse is driving me nuts. Will not scroll down. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted Full-Time Edition. It is a collection of classic and original minigames set in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. I think it looks like scenes from classic titles have been updated and remade for a fully immersive experience, including Five Nights at Freddy's 1, 2, 3, 4, and Freddy's sister location. And it looks like you can play it flat or in PlayStation VR 2. It's a combined version of Help Wanted and its DLC. for PS5 and PSVR 2. So there you go. Quite a bit there. I've never played a Five Nights at Freddy's game.
I just did for the first time like 2 weeks ago, and I loved the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, the vibe looks cool.
Yeah.
What's the gameplay like? Because I know you like look at cameras.
Yeah, it was fine. I tried to avoid the camera looking and just like run around.
You can just free run around like in first person or something?
Yeah, they recommend using cameras, at least in the game I played, but I just was dodging and weaving, and it gave me a little bit of motion sickness. I don't know if it was a setting I needed to turn off or on, but...
Yeah, I sometimes struggle with that too, with first-person games where you're like moving quickly through areas.
Yeah, kind of fun though.
Okay.
Battlefield 5 for the PS4.
Yeah.
Exciting.
It's been out for a while, but I think it's one of the more loved ones, if I remember correctly. Stalker, Legends of the Zone trilogy. It's an open world, open world survival game with the original Stalker trilogy, now upscaled and enhanced for a new generation. I haven't played any Stalker games, but check that one out.
Grand Blue, Fantasy versus Rising. What?
What does that name mean?
No idea. PS4 and PS. Rise to Glory in this game. A delightful fighting game experience for beginners and veterans.
Fighting game, wow.
Yep. Epic adventures.
Sounds great. Humankind on PlayStation 4 and 5. It's a historical strategy game where you'll be rewriting the entire narrative of human history and combining cultures to create a civilization that's as unique as you are.
Story of Seasons. A Wonderful Life. PS5. Looks cute. It's a reimagined version of A Wonderful Life. Brings all the heart and charm of the original to a new generation.
Wow. Kind of looks like, what's that Nintendo game? Nature, Stardew Valley, not Stardew Valley. That big one that came out at the same time Doom did.
Oh, yeah.
Where you can craft your own, like, village on an island. It doesn't matter. Next up, Gloomhaven. Kind of fun for our little board game crossover here. Gloomhaven's a very, very famous and popular board game that's a big dungeon crawl. You play as characters. It has like a cool card system where I think like to do actions, you play like the top of one card and the bottom of another. So it's supposed to be like fun to play, but it is like dungeon crawl and kind of like Dungeons and Dragons-esque, like fantasy-esque in that way. This is the Mercenaries edition for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. A rough tactical RPG. That's not a word that I read correctly. A tough tactical RPG.
Similar.
Yeah. And then for kind of the biggest letdown of the week, in my opinion, for the games only on PlayStation Plus Premium, not on Extra.
Battle Engine Aquila.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Aquila?
Yeah, looks weird. I don't know. What is it? The forces of the Forseti and evil Muspel are in a fight to the death for a flooded world's most limited resource. Can you guess what that resource is? Land.
I would have guessed water.
You are Hawk Winter in this game.
Yeah.
You get to play as Hawk Winter, so download that one.
Heck yeah.
On Tuesday.
I'm guessing that's a PlayStation 2 or something game, since the premium versions are usually classics that have been remastered to work on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. That's the only one this month. They usually have like 2 or 3, and they're usually a game someone's heard of.
No one's heard of that.
I've never heard of it.
Maybe it's great.
Hopefully, but kind of a letdown for premium members, in my opinion. Who would pay for premium?
I don't know.
Only an idiot like me.
Oh.
Anyway, so those are the new games to Extra and Premium for the month of May 2025.
We got no news for Game Pass. May Wave 2.
Oh, yeah. They haven't released that yet. We talked about May Wave 1 last week. So.
Oh, you're right. Nothing from Nintendo. Epic Store's got 2 mystery games.
Yeah, I just wanted to show how annoying this is on the Epic Game Store. Because they usually show you the game that's going to be free on Thursday, but right now they're just showing 2 games with the vault on them, unlocking in 11 hours and 51 minutes.
Interesting.
So hopefully they're good. Check those out. When you're hearing this, they will be unvaulted.
Prime Gaming and Apple Arcade, we will have updates in June.
Yeah.
All right, on to what we're playing.
Sweet.
I'll start. Sure.
Love it.
I'm just going to talk about the one game I've been playing. We talked about Red Dead Redemption 2 for like 700 weeks.
Just the last question on Red Dead. What did you
Yes.
think of the epilogue section with John Marston? Like after Arthur's gone, because it's pretty long.
I was surprised at how long it was. Like
Yeah.
it was cool to see them like actually like establishing a peaceful life. I thought that was cool. And then to take Micah out of the game was kind of cool.
That was almost worth the whole thing for me. It was just like the scene with Micah and Dutch at the end.
Yeah, but they kind of were throwing side missions at me too, and I was like,
yeah,
I don't feel like I need to do this so much. But
yeah,
the similarity between John and Arthur in appearance is great.
yeah.
They look so similar. Like,
yeah, they kind of do, especially when they like are both wearing a hat and a beard, and you can put the same like kind of clothes on them. You know.
oh yeah, 100%. Goated game, fantastic game, love that game.
So good.
So I've been playing one game. I guess I've been playing two games. We'll talk about this first. Been playing Clair Obscure Expedition 33. We're 2 days into the game. We're about 15 to 17 hours into the game. After the first 8 hours, I was like, I don't feel a need to go all the way back in. I pushed it to the side, and for some reason, underrated the game. Came back today, and 5 hours in, I was like, I don't want to play anything else.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
I'm still at like about the spot you were at the start of your day today.
Okay.
And you think it scaled from like there excellent,
It just got good. I don't know if it was that I focused more on the story and paid attention to these cutscenes and really explored and understood the vastness and huge size of this game. It's big. It takes a long time. It's difficult. The character design is crazy. The graphics are good. The perk system is insane. The attribute building, the mathematics and the timing of attacks and parries and dodges and jumps and unique parries and new characters added and sad and happy moments in the game. It is amazing. It is a turn-based game that feels not turn-based.
Yeah.
In any way.
Yeah, when you're playing like the fights, it doesn't like feel annoyingly turn-based. I think the only part of it that really feels turn-based to me is like the mini map where you're running around and then you'll see like an enemy and then you can boop, which initiates conflict or whatever. But other than that, it doesn't even really feel like one.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. It's beautifully made. I was told today that only 30 people made that. I don't know if that's true or not. Don't quote me on it.
I think it is a pretty small team, and it's their first game. So pretty big achievement, I think.
Agreed. For me, as of right now, it will be game of the year so far for me of a game that came out this year that I have played. It is beyond many other games that I've played. It's very good. I hear it's extremely long.
I don't sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, you're good.
I think it's actually not too long. I think that's one of the things people have liked about it is games in this genre that are Japanese role-playing games can be very long. Like, the story can sometimes have lots of filler and take like 80 to 100 hours to finish. This one, most people are saying you can finish like the story in around 30-ish.
Oh, really?
But there is quite a bit of side stuff you can do as well. And so they kind of decided to, let's not make a huge bloated game. Let's make like a smaller, more focused one that has some side stuff. But then we'll also only charge $50 instead of 70. And that's much more of my vibe. Yeah. I think they could have gotten away with charging, 60 or 70 for this game because of how high quality it is.
So maybe the story's not as long. As I was going around the game today, I kept coming to areas and I was thinking, I got to come back to that later. I got to come back to this later. I've got to remember this is here. I don't have that ability yet. I need to mark this. I wish I could mark my map, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I think the game is massive in its own way.
Yeah, I agree.
But maybe the story does go more quickly than full completion.
I think, if you're like skipping the side caves and stuff.
Yeah, because I've done like almost 20 hours and I've been searching quite a bit in areas. Anytime we get open in the open world, I just kind of hug the edges of the map and
try to make sure you don't miss anything.
Yes, and people were saying, you've done nothing in this game so far. You're 20% through. I was like, oh,
interesting.
Really? So, yeah, I'm excited to see how long the campaign takes me.
Yeah.
But beautiful game, honestly. It's a little overwhelming. there's just always something to upgrade or change in the game constantly.
Yeah,
You come across a gem on the ground and it's like, I already feel like I have a perfect build. Do I want to introduce something new?
Yeah, I agree. It's almost like you said, it's overwhelming a little bit in that way. I'm glad it has that level of depth. I feel like if you after you've played the game once, like if you wanted to replay it like 6 months later or something, you'd be very grateful that it has like that amount of depth. You can be like, I'm gonna do a totally different build system than I did last time. So it's very cool, but it is overwhelming. Like they introduce like here's the Pictos, and you can get the Pictos off of weapons if you use the weapon successfully in like 4 different fights, and then you can assign that to the different characters, and then they can only have a certain amount until you upgrade like their Pictos skill level, and then you can start to add more, and then they also have weapons and the weapon scale with different skills, and then the abilities you can only equip 6 at a time on each character, and they kind of the different characters have branching like skill trees.
Oh man, yeah.
And so like if you go really heavy one area, you might be missing like cool skills on the other side, and then again you can only have 6 equipped for fights anyways. So there's a lot of, and then the characters introduce different levels of complexity with like one of them has the stance system. Mael here, I think is that how you say her name?
Yeah.
Like after every attack, she switches stance based on which attack you did, and her different stances are better for defense or attacking, or like one of them is what's the other stance called? Like dancing? Something like that. But
I can't remember.
so yeah, there's quite a few layers. I've been pretty impressed by it too, but also a little overwhelmed by like the systems. But I think if you just like step back a little bit and just say like, I think this build's okay, I'm just gonna play with it for the next hour, and then in an hour I'll reassess.
That's what I've been doing. I think it's cool because using a specific material, you can just respec.
Yeah,
Just like, okay, put all my points back and change my build.
And it seems like they give you quite a few of those. Like
yeah,
you could do it quite a few times.
The game is fantastic. Long story short, it really is if you give it a chance. But I think for the average gamer, I feel like it might overwhelm them a little bit. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, it's hard for me to know too. Like I think about like kids playing Fortnite, and that has quite a few like layers of complexity as well, about like loot tiers and like building and like that the button layout complexity and stuff. This is a different kind of complexity. But I don't know. Yeah, if like younger players that are more casual maybe will give it a chance because their friends aren't playing it. It's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
But it seems to be doing really well. If you have Game Pass, make sure to try it totally included in your subscription. And then if you have PlayStation or PC, $50 is a pretty good price for a brand new game that not everyone, but a lot of people are saying is probably going to be one of the games of the year. So yeah, I've played just a few more minutes of it the last week, so I won't say really much more other than the questions that I asked you during your segment. But awesome game. Really like it.
I'm going to quickly, lightly touch on 2 games. I played Revenge of the Savage Planet, sequel to...
Oh, yeah, I forgot you did.
Journey to the Savage Planet. I didn't get to play it really for long enough to have a great opinion about it, but I did start to feel a little bit stuck in... I don't know. I don't even want to say repetition. I also played it solo. I think it's going to really thrive in co-op. It's goofy. It's funny. It's got the strangest characters and jokes and things that happen.
Humor's hilarious.
I mean, you step on an animal on accident and it just explodes, and there's weird mechanics. And but I put like 5 to 8 hours into this game. Never came across like a boss fight. It sent me to another world.
It's showing some bosses here in this trailer.
Yeah, so maybe they do exist. Maybe I haven't put enough time into the game. It's probably good.
I've only been seeing good things about it. Like people are saying like this is like the co-op Metroidvania game that like I wanted to play. I'm like, that's cool. It's obviously 3D and not 2D like Hollow Knight or something like that. And it's not like as combat focused either. It's more like funny and puzzles. So I really want to play it sometime too, but probably on PlayStation when we could play it together, because
Yeah.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game. Not much more to say about that. The other game I tried was the newest Indiana Jones game in the
Oh yeah, you
Great
did.
Circle.
You played so much, I forgot about them. Didn't put them in the document.
Yeah, getting an Xbox Game Pass month. I've tried to try a lot of things. This game is pretty. It looks decent. It plays decent. I sometimes wish I could change to third person. They don't hold your hand much in this game. It's very interesting. There were many times where I was running in circles. I was like, I don't know what to do. Did I miss a piece of lore? Was I supposed to read that piece of paper that seemed useless? This game, I think, would be really good for someone that's a huge fan of Indiana Jones and is willing to spend a good amount of time listening to the characters and to all the little hints and clues. We came across some puzzles that I guess we couldn't do until we've done 45 other things. It's like some huge side quest. I didn't even know there were side quests. And I was like, oh, so I just have to leave that behind now. I don't think I'm going to do a second playthrough of this and come back to do that puzzle. But once again, haven't got to put enough time into the game to really know. But I had fun playing it.
Watching you play for a bit, I was surprised at like how stealth focused the game kind of is, especially in like, I don't know if stealth is the right word, but you're avoiding detection a lot.
Yes.
And like, okay, I can walk here, but I can't pull out anything that looks like a weapon, including a camera.
Oh man, they were dramatic in that game. Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting in that way that it does seem like a game that's a bit more like slower paced. You're not going to like, also watching you play, you don't like win a lot of fights once like you've alerted 7 enemies and they've kind of cornered you. Like,
you almost have to just like hide behind pillars and whip one and then run to another pillar, whip one. There is a way to do it to like beat hordes of enemies, but a little bit exhausting.
Yeah. And so I think they want you to like be stealthy, take out somebody, you know, choke them out or whatever. Read your journal, think about like, what's the next step? What do I need to do for this puzzle? I love the first 3 Indiana Jones movies, and so I feel like this game could be very much for David. It just
I think you would enjoy this more than I would.
Yeah, again, someone that absolutely adores like Uncharted. But even Uncharted being third person like cover based shooter is a bit more like, I don't know if action focused is the right word, but the gameplay is just different. That plays a bit like, you know, Gears of War kind of, where this plays very differently, it being in first person alone. So I don't know. I'm excited to try it out one day. I'm not going to pay $70 for it on PlayStation though, so I'm going to wait until it's on sale. But I do think I will like it just because I love Indiana Jones. So
I also do. Loved hearing some of the music.
Yeah. Yep. That Indiana Jones theme is great. That's quite a list, Evan. You are committed.
I've been gaming.
Yeah. Love it. Did I even have anything on my list?
Oh, we got Warhammer on here.
That's true. We played this last week. So I got Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 on GameFly. And I can't for some reason get the screen. There we go. And it's cool. It's like big and bombastic, very pretty, like graphically. I really liked we probably played for 2 hours or something. We both like kind of swapped off a couple of times, and I liked how it played. Like it had like bigger enemies that you can like get in and melee and like block and counter what they're doing as well, and then you're using like guns and weapons too. Very cool. I don't know anything about Warhammer really, other than they're big dudes in giant suits, and it's like a game with no humor. Like everything is said like super straight. Like they think they're like it thinks it's like epic, and it usually is. But even in scenes where I'm like, this shouldn't be like an epic scene, they're gonna say like some cringy line like, we gotta, I don't know, squash the Terminids or whatever they're called. So I don't know. I thought it was fun to play, but I don't know. I kind of bounced off it pretty quick. I don't think it's one that I want to like have using up my GameFly game for a long period of time. if it's eventually on like a really good sale on PlayStation Network, and I have like enough time, and feel like I want a Gears of War kind of shooter, then I think it would be fun. Especially, I think this is another one that would be really great in co-op.
Would be much better in co-op. Something I noticed about this game that drove me nuts was any exploration to the side that we tried to do, we would find a weapon that we already had.
That was weird.
It was like, that's not a cool prize.
Yeah.
And then you get to like from chapter 1 to chapter 2, you start the second mission or whatever, and they give you the same 2 options of weapons you had for the first mission. It's like the weapons never changed.
Yeah, it's true. They seem very slow to dole them out, but then they leave them on the ground, and so you're like excited. You're like fine. You're like, oh, a new weapon, and then you get up there and you're like, oh, it's the same one I'm carrying.
Yeah, I would say
kind of weird.
My description of this game is after 2 hours, extremely repetitive.
Yeah, it kind of was, and they try to say really epic lines the whole time. The combat's fun, but we weren't doing different enough things.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it, but I wasn't like, oh, heck yeah, I need to play this every day.
Yeah. Yeah, ditto. I think that's pretty perfectly about how I felt. I did like, in a few scenes, there are like hordes of these insect enemies coming in. And I liked that they actually showed them coming in from like the background scene. Like you see like the big wave of them. And you can actually fire into that like wave of them. And I think it's like, it was showing damage and like blood over there. So I think it's like an accurate representation of like, okay, we're going to throw 300 enemies at them. Let's have them come over this hill that's pretty far away, and then they'll storm in and then kind of stand on top of each other to like breach this wall. And the whole time you're just going to be mowing down as many as you can. Cool scenes. But again, comes back to the repetitiveness. We saw that a few times just in the 2 hours we played. So, so I don't know. I think I'll try it again one day, but probably only when it's like included on PlayStation Plus or something. I don't see me like wanting to, and when I'm like feeling a lull and want to play a co-op game. I'm also playing this what would you call this, a physics-based 2D platformer that just came out probably 3 weeks to a month ago, called Bionic Bay. And there may be some like sort of lore or story. I don't know what it is. You're basically this dude who's trying to get to the end of a level.
Yeah.
And there's lots of lasers and bombs and turrets and other things that are trying to like, or sometimes they're not even trying to. Sometimes they're just there, but will kill you if you touch them. And so you're trying to get to the end of the level with some precision. Excuse my words. Platforming and jumping, and you can do like this. You jump, and then you can do a dive in the air from your jump, so you have a bit of flexibility, like even in the air. As you continue to play, you start to like find other like scientist-like people on the ground who left like their final message. And then I'm not really sure if you like play as like then one of their memories for the next level. And sometimes your character looks slightly different. The background will change color to like show you're like in a different type of level, and you have a different special ability. I haven't got to this one yet where like you're changing gravity the whole time. I'm trying to think of the ones that I do. Oh, the one I have right now is played a lot of levels with the teleport device, where if you touch like a box or something, it will like become linked with your glove, and then you can move a certain distance away from it, and then hit L1 and you'll instantly zoop, swap locations with that item. And so you use that for a lot of platforming, or like you'll be just about to like hit a laser or a bomb, and then swap places with like another bomb or something that will blow up the turret, and then you can get past. So that's a cool system. They're in a different kind of level. There's one where it like makes you really strong, and you can kick things really hard, and then the gravity there is like really heavy. So I like that they're changing it. Like it's not just the same the whole time. It's like, okay, we've done everything that we think interesting thing we can do with the teleportation mechanism. Now he's jumping into this other one. And there's going to be the gravity shifting one. So I hope that there's enough fresh things. It's fun. It like feels really good. You feel like you have good control of your character, which is a kind of a must for this kind of game. So, anyways, Bionic Bay is a good one. I'm probably 4 hours in, would be my guess.
Oh, you've actually put some time into that.
Yeah. All right. Is that all for board game or video games, Devin? I think it is. That brings us to board games, and this last week we played 2, and we played them both together.
Oh wow, I'm part of this.
You are.
Crazy.
Last week we played Iliad, and we recorded it, played it on the channel, so it's up on Gaming Top Down. You can see us playing it here. And this is a game by the good doctor,
Reiner Knizia.
Reiner Knizia. I've engraved that name in Devin's hippocampus. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Isn't that the part of their brain responsible for memory or something? I don't know. Cool tile laying game where basically you are trying to either get the most points or make sure that you have one of all 5 colors of token and your opponent does not at the end of the game. You do that by putting one of your tiles down on this grid. I think it's a 6x6 grid, but you can only put your tile on a spot of your color and on a spot next to a spot that already has a tile there. So you can't just like willy-nilly put it wherever. The tiles have values from 1 to 5 on them, and then the tiles from 1 to 4 have a special ability, and then the 6th tile doesn't have a 6 on it. It has like this kind of cross symbol on it, and it gives you the values of the adjacent tiles. Those special abilities let you, like after you put a tile down, you can move one of your own, or move one of your opponents, or flip yours over and flip one of your opponents over that's next to it. The 3 lets you take one of your success tokens that you're trying to get and swap it with one from this kind of this stack of 5 on the side. And I think that's really the whole game. Once a column or a row is filled, you count to see whether you or your opponent has a higher value in that column or row, and whoever does gets to take the token they want from the 2 that are touching that column or row, and then the other player is forced to take the other one. So a lot of blocking. You're trying to read like the columns and the rows, say like, okay, I really need an orange or a pink so that I'm completing the full kind of rainbow of the god tiles. Very easy to play. You can learn the rules in 2 minutes. But surprisingly, after 10 minutes in, it gets really tight in there. And you're like, man, there's a lot to read here, where I'm like counting up this column and row and like trying to diagram where like the cross sections meet to know like, okay, if I want to win that 5 that's on the edge, I really need to focus on this column. But then even if I do that, Devin might put down a tile that moves something out of that column that I wasn't expecting. So it's really more tactical than strategic. You have to be able to react to what your opponent's done. And probably if you have a good memory or like are quick at reading, like, okay, how many of the 3 number 1 tiles has my opponent used already? If he's used all 3, then I know he can't move one of my things. So there's a bit of like remembering what's been placed as well. So I don't know, I liked it. I don't think it was like top tier amazing, at least in the first play, but I thought it was like solid and a fun. The play probably took us like 30 minutes after the teach, but I think you could play it in like 15 after both players are a little more familiar with like the flow.
Yeah, I thought the game had the right amount of complexity between prepping your plan versus what you think your enemy, is that the word? Opponent's gonna do, and then the unexpected parts of the game just to mix it up enough and to ruin your plan, basically.
Yeah.
The complexity was good. The game is unpredictable in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But you can play it strategically, and I'm sure you could get better at it over time, like you're saying.
Yeah, I think this is one that has like, it'll both speed up the more times you've played it, and there's probably like a few more layers of complexity that like I wasn't even really putting together. I was playing maybe a little more randomly than I should have been, but just because I didn't know.
Yeah.
But that's Iliad. I'm excited to play the other game in that line called Ichor, but we haven't tried that one yet. It's kind of one of the next ones up on the agenda list. Other than Iliad, Devin, we just played another game. So I'm going to go down to the table, actually, because that's where I have that one. Because I didn't... we don't have video yet, obviously, so it's just here on the table. And there it is. It's a tiny little box called Orapa Mine. You can see it's box barely bigger than my palm. And cheap game, you can get it on Amazon for like $20 or something. And man, just I guess telling you right up front, I think it's excellent.
Yeah,
it's
same.
very cool. It's simple, and I'm like, man, I wish I thought of this, and I could have designed this game. But I'm gonna zoom in just so you can see that a little bit better. But it's kind of like Battleship, but only the positive parts of Battleship. You basically have these shapes, and each player has this grid here, and you I guess not randomly, however you want to configure your shapes on your side. You do that, and you do it behind a shield so that your opponent can't see them. And then on every turn, and they do the same thing. So they have a set that you're trying to guess, and you have a set that they are trying to guess. You can play with 3 or more players in a different variant, but I think the one-on-one variant is the best one that most people online recommend. Then on every turn, you either say, okay, I want to send an ultrasound laser through the letter A, and then the player you're asking will like follow in from A and then see where the laser would bounce and say, okay, that one came out the letter O, and since it hit white and blue, it would be light blue or sky blue, I think is what they say. So they give you 2 bits of information, where it came out and the color of the laser when it came out. And when I was listening to like how to play like a few months ago when I started to get interested in this game, I was like, man, that sounds like it'd be pretty easy. 'Tis not.
No, not really.
It's pretty tough. I don't know how many clues the 2 of us used, but I would guess like it took me 20 clues.
Yeah, something
Ish.
like that.
In order to pinpoint it. We did end up like with a draw where you solved it as the player who had the first turn, so I got one final turn, and I got lucky because I knew the yellow piece was either here or shifted up 1. I wasn't sure yet, so I put it 1 spot and happened to get it. But yeah, that's really the whole game. The other thing you can do on your turn is you can say like a coordinate. Like I think you started by saying C3, and then that person has to tell you, yes, there's a red there, or there's nothing there. So kind of like Battleship more in that way, but usually you're asking for the ultrasound laser kind of line and where it exits. Very cool game. There's a big stack of like sheets, so you can play it, and they're double-sided, so you can play many times just with this mini game. And there's also 2 like advanced variant pieces you can play with. One is a like clear triangle that just makes it bounce more but doesn't change the color, which sounds rough. And the other one is black, and it actually absorbs the light, and it does not leave the board. So if it hits that, you just say the light was absorbed, which gives them like no information.
Oh,
So those sound very tough. I'm glad it has those advanced variants in it though, because I don't know, that'll just add to like, after I played it 20 times, I'm like, okay, I feel ready for that maybe.
yeah, the variants add longevity to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I would even say playing it 2nd or 3rd time, you could add one in and test it out.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I would like to see, I think it's going to make the game much more difficult and much more strategic.
Yeah, and probably a little more swingy, where like one person was able to figure it out after the 20 turns, and the other person is so far off it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. So I don't know. I really liked it. It's very simple. It only does that one thing, but the one thing it does is it does it really well.
It does, yeah. I would recommend that to most people. It's a great game.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, I think that one will stay in the collection for a while, so check that one out. Orapa Mine. I think it's on Amazon's where I got it. If you yeah, check the affiliate link in the description of this video. That'll help support the channel. So there you
Yes,
go.
sir.
Shameless plug.
Well, what are you looking forward to this week?
Oh, well, I already mentioned Iliad. Nope. Ichor.
Yep.
The other one in that series. I do want to try that. And I also have a couple other games coming that I forgot to put on the document, so that's not very helpful. But I can pull one up at least that I am really excited for, and I think it shipped today. So by next week I'll probably have it. I don't know if I will have been able to play it by next week, but let's at least show you what it looks like. It's called Spectral, from Bitewing Games again, I believe. Yeah, Bitewing company here in Utah, and designed by Ryan Courtney, who does like very puzzly games. One of my favorite games of his is called Curious Cargo, and it reminds me a lot of Pipe Dream, that computer game where like the goo started and you had to like make the pipes. There's no time element to that, so you're not like that stressed, but you're trying to conveyor belt goods to like these shipping areas on your board, and it's very puzzly in that way. This one is not really a puzzle in the same way. It's actually a deduction game, and to be honest, I don't even know how to play so much, other than there are you're trying to like find gems and not like be killed by ghosts, I think, in the different rooms of this mansion or something. And you do that by putting your workers between two rooms, and then you're trying to watch like what the other people do, I think. I'm like, why did he put so many there? He might know something I don't. And so another deduction game, kind of like Orapa Mine that we just played, but much different kind of deduction. Really into deduction games right now. I played Tiwanaku and bought that one a few months ago, and I really like that one. So deduction is a fun game genre that some people definitely don't like. Like when they sit down to play a game, they're like, I don't want to do that much like cognitive thinking right now. I'm like, okay, for a Orapa Mine or whatever, like the red gem could be here, or it could be one spot to the left, or one spot to the left of that, or twisted one to the right, and like how do I puzzle those things out? It is a bit of brain power, for sure.
I think what makes a deduction game good is what Drapa Mine.
I think it's an O, but it looks like it could be
Mine.
Yeah.
What makes a good deduction game is the ability to write things down. My memory isn't the best.
Yeah, and this one does let you do that too.
Oh, what the? That was a perfect picture.
There you go.
Wow, perfect timing.
So I'm very excited for that one. I got that and a little like mini expansion for it. And I'm just all in on Bitewing games lately, I guess. But excited for that one. And then as far as like video games are concerned, I don't know. Throw me that link there, and maybe we'll see if there's any games I haven't thought of. I mean, we just talked about Sandland coming to a PlayStation Plus Extra. I'll probably try that. I don't know if I'll get to it right away because I do want to finish Clair Obscure and a couple other things first, because I can't play like 7 big games at once. Like 1 or 2 I can kind of juggle. But let's see if we come down here to May. Here at the end of May. Oh yeah, Doom: The Dark Ages comes out tomorrow.
Oh right.
I won't play that for a while. I want to catch up on Doom. I haven't played some of the others, but I am interested. I like that he has a shield and that it's more fantasy focused. I think he also has a dragon he can ride.
Oh, wow.
Which is cool. This game, the Precint, I'm actually very excited to try. And as I click on it, it didn't get like great reviews in the aggregate, but Push Square really liked it. IGN gave it a 7. I think Push Square gave it an 8. If I remember correctly. And you play as like a cop, but it's top down like old school Grand Theft Auto, but not like perfectly flat, like isometric. You're at like a 90-degree angle or whatever, and you're driving through this like city, and you pull people over, and you have to like solve crimes and stuff. And then there is like an overarching story, and then I think beyond the story, there's just like this sandbox world where crimes just randomly happen. So even if you don't want to like do the story stuff, you could just like piddle around in there as like a police officer. I want to see if I can pull up a trailer real quick and just have that going, because I do think it looks cool. I don't know if this is a video I wanted to click on, but See if I can fast forward a little bit. Oh, and it looks like I guess you can get out of your car too. Taking a suspect to jail. I don't know. It looks cool to me. I like the uniqueness. At least I think you can drive around in your car too.
Right? That's kind of cool looking.
Yeah, I like the kind of vibe it has. And I don't know, he's chasing something right now. So I don't know. I'm kind of excited to give this one a try.
Very interesting. I'd never heard of this.
That's the Precint. I forgot that came out this week as well. So the Precint and Doom just came out. But anyways, I just talked for a whole bunch of time. Devin, anything you're excited about?
Doom, maybe.
Yeah.
And even the game you just showed, potentially.
Yeah.
Cool. Those were good answers. That brings us to the news mini nuke.
It does.
Where we talk about the bigger news items before hopping into rapid fire.
That is right. And just a little note here. Our episode last week crashed at about this point.
Oh, so, right. Mm-hmm.
Some of these are from last week, and those ones we're just going to hit really fast.
Okay.
We did talk about them in quite a bit of depth last week, but then that half of the episode just self-exploded. It was weird. But just so that, they're at least covered. Grand Theft Auto 6 was delayed. I think everyone knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Comes out on May 26th next year now. They had a big note here about why, and, well, not very big, but they delayed it from this fall. And then they also released trailer number 2, which, man, is very impressive looking. Just crazy. And I click on it and it turns on the audio, but probably the most detailed video game world I think I've ever seen. There are bubbles in the alcohol, and this is all running on a base PlayStation 5. What they showed in this trailer number 2.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people. They're like, Rockstar, we don't need this much detail.
Yeah, this guy moving the keyboard here, he pushed it forward, is a big moment. They're like, they made a prop for that voice actor to sit in front of to actually move the keyboard. I don't know.
Yeah, in video games, a lot of times if you've grabbed a specific item once, you've grabbed it every time. The exact same it will ever be in a game.
Yeah. If
I take a blood vial in Bloodborne, it always looks the same. It looks like the soda bottles and things like that in this game. Yeah, look at the gold. It's a perfect spot to pause. Look at the gold piece.
Differently.
It's torn differently. You used a different model for the same item.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Super cool.
Yeah. So that'll be cool next year. Even for a game that I don't know if I'll even play, but it's impressive to a level that's crazy. Other thing from last week, Gears of War Reloaded was announced. It's coming to Xbox, PC, and PlayStation this August. Runs at 4K 60 and 120 frames in multiplayer for $40. It's just the first game though. I wish it was 1, 2, and 3, but I'm assuming with this happening, if it does well, they're gonna do 2 and 3 as well. If you own Gears of War Ultimate Edition, you get a free upgrade to it. But I don't, because that one's just on Xbox, I think. Okay, was that everything from last week? I think that was everything from last week. So now we're just to this week. PlayStation released a big financial report of how they're doing. They're doing very well, basically. I won't go through very much here. The revenue is up. They've sold a bunch of consoles, 18.5 million in the fiscal year. So now they've sold 77.8. It's, if you overlay a chart over the PlayStation 4 sales and the PlayStation 5s, they're basically neck and neck, which is very impressive because the PlayStation 5 costs $100 more than the PlayStation 4 did. And it launched in a pandemic, and now we have tariff stuff. So doing very well with kind of the decline of Xbox. And you probably kind of anticipate that a little bit. They're expecting to scale up some things with first-party games coming out a little more frequently with Ghost of Yotei, Death Stranding 2, Marathon, and Destiny 2 all this year. So, I don't know. Good stuff there. If you want to read more financial stuff, they have a bunch more. In that financial report, they also had a bit of note that they are considering, I think the quote is, passing off the costs of tariffs to consumers. They're currently, I think the only platform holder that hasn't raised their prices. Xbox just raised the price of their Xboxes pretty substantially a couple weeks ago, we talked about. Sony hasn't done that yet. we know that before the tariffs went into effect, when it looked like they might, um, Sony just shipped like a crap ton of them to America, and just like had to have a big stockpile of them here that then wouldn't be in danger of these tariffs, so they kind of had a bit more time to wait. And yeah, there's not really a lot to say here. They might, basically, they're saying they might raise the price soon. And they also said that they wouldn't be against like manufacturing some of them in America. I don't know how they would do that, but I don't know. That's kind of the two talking points everyone is talking about here is that they're open to manufacturing them here, which would save them on the tariffs, but manufacturing something here compared to China is way more expensive. So I don't know how they would do that. So if you're thinking of getting a PlayStation or a PlayStation 5 Pro, man, I don't think that I would wait, given like the tariff stuff and the fact that they have not raised their prices yet. Because I think PlayStation 5 Pro is probably going to go to $800, which is nuts. And PlayStation 5 might go to $550 or $6. I don't know. We'll see. There's a new trailer and some new details for Mafia: The Old Country. There's been 3 Mafia games. I haven't played one. I like that vibe more than Grand Theft Auto though, where it's like the Italian mob, like the Mafia kind of like, seems a little less like just full blown like rambunctiousness, like a little more like on purpose. I don't know. But they obviously haven't done as well as GTA. But I know a lot of people like the first 3 games. This one comes out, when do you come out? August 8th. And the 2 details they announced is it's also not going to be full price. And maybe after seeing like the success of Clair Obscur, they probably made this decision a long time ago. But based on that, I think that'll be kind of a boon for them. And they also said it's not a big open world game like Mafia 3 was. So it's going to be like a more linear, tight, structured, focused game. And they've lowered the price point because they, I think probably just because of the expectations people have for Mafia. This is a little bit different. And I'm like, when I hear $50 and like shorter game,
but sounds nice.
It also still looks like super high quality. I'm like, okay, that sounds fine. So, not a negative to David at all. I don't know if I'll play this anytime soon, but it does look cool. All right, next up,
Marvel news.
Yeah, the lady that wrote the first 3 Uncharted games, her name is Amy Hennig. She worked at Naughty Dog for a long time, obviously. And so, in my mind, one of the best, like, she was like the writer that wrote the story. So, like, one of the best video game story writers, in my opinion. She also wrote other stuff. I think she's most well known for Uncharted. She's working on a game at, I can't remember which, at Skydance Games, called Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. I think it has Captain America and Black Panther in it.
Ooh,
it was supposed to come out later this year, I think. It's been delayed into early 2026, but that's really the only news here. I'm pretty excited about that one with her writing something in the Marvel world. I hope it's like an awesome story.
Agreed. Those are 2 of my favorite characters as well.
Yeah. So look for that one early next year. There were lots of hands-on previews this last week for Death Stranding 2, which I think comes out in June? Might be July. I can't remember. This like list here is just like bonkers. But they tried to make it a bit more action-packed than the first one. Like it still looks like it's got that zaniness with like, oh, you're delivering packages, but you can make like highways and you can make monorails. There's like very famous actors in it and crazy story. For some reason, they're all black right there. There's Troy Baker as the weird Joker dude. I love the vibe.
Yeah, agreed.
And I played probably 2 hours of the first one. I was like, man, this is super cool. But then like I was struggling on one of the delivery missions and I just kind of bounced off. And I wonder how many people that happened to, because I think it's a very long game, 70 hours or something. But I don't know. Cool looking, cool vibe. I don't know that I'll play Death Stranding 2 anytime soon, but if you want to know anything more about it, there's a lot more. Norman Reedus just gliding on this monorail. Such a weird thing. PlayStation accidentally uploaded a trailer to their YouTube channel early that is basically a release trailer for Stellar Blade on PC for June 11th, and it has some upgrades, new costumes, and that kind of stuff. Not really, I don't really care, but some people probably do. So that game was pretty popular whenever it came out. I don't remember if that was earlier this year or last year at this point. All right, now we're into some Switch stuff. First one here is basically Switch 2 stuff is like starting to leak, and Nintendo is obviously releasing some of it itself. Cool new feature. The Switch 2 has a feature that many like devices that have batteries in them nowadays do. It's like smart charging. Basically, it will stop charging at 90% because charging all the way to 100 often or like every time is not good for a battery's longevity. My Rogue Ally that we record the podcast on has the same thing, but it stops it at 80%. I don't know if that makes a difference, but Switch 2 has a feature. There you go.
Kind of cool.
Yeah. The next one, I think, was Digital Foundry, who are like the smartest people as far as video games are concerned, for like technical analysis. They like look at like different games and how they play and like the frame rates and why things are running the way they are, and they know a lot about like all that stuff behind the scenes. They've finally like done like their own review and heard from sources and have released this list comparing like all the specs of the Switch 2 versus the original Switch. I don't know what most of these things mean, other than the type of RAM is LPDDR5 versus 4, and the memory bandwidth being 102 gigabytes per second compared to 25. Like, those numbers are bigger.
Quadruple.
So if you want to know more about that, I think they have a video up as well as this thing here. It's only a few weeks, Devin.
Crazy.
You excited for this thing?
Yes.
I am too. I think it looks cool. I don't know when the right time will be for me to get one, but yeah, I'm excited too.
Should be awesome.
Donkey Kong Bonanza, Mario Kart World, and whatever they have cooking next looks cool. Another, they have cool stuff, and then they're always doing weird stuff. They sued a couple companies in the last couple months, and this one was kind of funny. I actually got this email too from this article here on GameFile. Basically, if you sign into your Switch, it says, "Hey, our user agreement has changed. You need to accept the new one." And whenever something like that happens, I'm always just like, whatever, and hit accept. But there's quite a few changes in this one. I've already accepted it, so I guess I'm in big trouble. But basically says, if you distribute, offer for sale, or create derivative works of any, basically if you made like a pirated version of one of their games or something, or if you install or use any unauthorized copies of a Nintendo game, or exploit Nintendo online in any manner other than them in accordance with the documentation and intended use, blah, 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 we can prosecute you. And this is the weirdest thing. You acknowledge that if you fail to comply with the restrictions above, Nintendo may render the Nintendo account service and or the applicable Nintendo device permanently unusable in whole or in part. So basically, it sounds like Nintendo has a kill switch that if they don't like how you're using your Switch, you download or play like if you mod your Switch or play a Switch 2 game that was illegally gotten, they can push said button and your Switch 2 will no longer work.
It's weird that this has become a thing, because there used to be talk of don't buy an electric car. If you're not abiding the rules or whatever, if they don't want you to, they can just shut it off.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. But
and then things like this, and you're like, oh.
Very interesting that, yeah, very, very strange news.
It is weird. I'm not one that pirates things generally.
Yeah, me neither.
Like,
I don't think I've ever done that.
I do have like 2,000 games on that I emulate that are like Super Nintendo and stuff. But then I still subscribe to Nintendo Switch Online and can play some of them there, so I don't feel bad about that. But I'm not like emulating new games. I buy all my stuff, so I'm not worried about this for my personal account. But it is crazy that they are like, you have to accept the fact that we can destroy this $500 device that you just bought, so that it
from a distance.
And it will be permanently unusable. What does it do? Explode of like the battery?
I don't know. How interesting.
It's crazy. They probably just changed some setting in their database that says like this device ID should not be able to do anything after it turns on.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But
they're probably gonna hardly ever have to use. Well, who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's crazy either way. So I thought that was kind of funny more than anything. All right, is that all the video game news, Devin? Because we did all the movie stuff.
Yep, did all the movie stuff earlier.
Okay, board game news. There's just a couple things. The Golden Geek Awards were announced. Winners were announced. These are voted for or voted on by the users of Board Game Geek. So it's kind of like a user awards thing, as opposed to like, you know, the Oscars that's voted on by like the Academy, not like Rotten Tomatoes. This is more Rotten Tomatoes kind of idea. So they have a bunch of different sections. They do awards every year. So we're just going to read through them real quick. And quite a few of these we've played together. Quite a few of them I bought in the last year. And so it's kind of funny to see like sometimes the games that are just like super popular or like the ones that even I'm drawn to. Maybe I should have been, maybe I shouldn't have been is another discussion. But for 2-player games, the runners-up are Jest of Robin Hood, Kelp, Shark versus Octopus, which is a game I love. And I would probably put it above this next one, even though I liked it a lot too. The Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth won that category. But that makes sense. That one was very popular this year. For artwork, you got Arcs. That's excellent sci-fi artwork in that. Harmonies, excellent, like colorful animal artwork in that one. And Unconscious Mind is one I want to get, but I don't have yet. So of the 6 games we've mentioned, I have 4 of them. Big old dork. There you go. Cooperative game, the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. Slay the Spire, the board game. My neighbor has that. I played that. And Bomb Busters, which I own. It's behind Devin's head. Excellent, excellent game. That's a deduction game that you played together as a group, which is kind of fun to try to deduce things and be on the same team. It's very fun. Expansion, Forest Shuffle Alpine. I have that one. Heat, Heavy Rain. I don't have that, but I do have Heat. And Arcs, the Blighted Reach expansion. I have that. So, in your face, I guess.
Right, it's in my face for sure. I don't have any of these.
Innovative games. SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. I don't have that one. It does look pretty cool. Fromage is the cheese one that with the Lazy Susan that spins after you put your workers on it. We looked at it a few weeks ago. And then Arcs 1, Innovative. I have Arcs. Very, very cool game. Light, Game of the Year. Captain Flip 7, which Devin, you've played with me. That's the one where you're flipping over cards and you don't want the same number because then you bust. Very popular game this year. And Castle Combo won that one. Medium Game of the Year, Endeavor Deep Sea, Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth, and Harmonies won that one. Harmonies is great. Love that. Heavy Game of the Year, Civolution, and Arcs are runners-up, and SETI won. Party Game, Things and Rings and the Gang, runners-up, and Flip 7 is the winner. Print and Play, Forage, a 9-card solitaire game, Rome, Fate of an Empire are the runners-up. And the winner is 52 Realms Adventures, which I have. I've been wanting to try that one recently. So since it's got some buzz on Board Game Geek, it's in the hotness right now. Might be a good time for me to do a playthrough of that. Solo game, Imperium Horizons, Gloomhaven, Buttons and Bugs, and then Slay the Spire is the winner. Thematic game, Lord of the Rings Duel, Let's Go to Japan. I have that one too, but we haven't played it yet. And SETI won that one. War game, Dune, War for Arrakis, which is a very awesome looking game from the same team that did the Lord of the Rings, War for Middle-earth game. So I've wanted to try one of those. I guess for Robin Hood and Arcs won War game. Best podcast. It's really surprising they didn't have us on here all 3 times.
We must have got 4th. That's
right. Or we felt bad for these other 3, and so they tried to give them all of us, and we were like, well, give them to the other ones, yeah. The Space Biff, Spacecast, Board Game Hot Takes, and Beyond Solitaire. is a winner there. Best board game app, Clank, Codenames, and Dune Imperium is a winner, which is a good app. I own that on Steam. It's good. So lots of good stuff there. Arcs is a big winner. I think had 3 wins, maybe. Harmony's won a couple times. I have both of those games. They're great. So fun games there on the Board Game Geek Golden Geek Awards. Whew. I feel like I've just been talking.
You've got more information than...
Okay, we talked about tariffs a bit. This will be really fast. Tariffs have been put on like a slight pause. They're calling it a 90-day truce here on Board Game Wire, an excellent website for board game news. And according to this article, great article you should read, a lot of board game companies are worried that, okay, there's a truce with China right now, so the tariffs are down to 30% instead of like the 145 they were. So everyone's going to want to ship right now in these 90 days because the tariffs are 115% lower, right? Because of that, all the prices for the shipping containers are going to go up because it's like like supply and demand thing.
Yeah.
Where there's only 90 days and only so many spots. So kind of crazy. It goes into a lot more detail here, but man, tariffs are just hopefully doing some good, but it seems like wrecking a lot of things, breaking up a lot of causing a lot of commotion and unexpected craziness, I guess is what I wanted to say. So just a little note there. And then there are a few games announced this week. I don't know that we're going to reinstate this portion of the podcast that we used to have fully, but there are 2 or 3 that I thought were really big announcements that I thought we should at least bring up. 7 Wonders Dice. 7 Wonders is one of like the best-selling board games of all time. And this is a dice version, 2 to 7 players from the same designer, Antoine Bauza. It will be coming to the US at least on September 19th. I'm guessing other areas of the world pretty soon after that. I'm guessing it's not too different. It says guide one of the 7 largest cities of antiquity to prosperity, which is what you do in the card game. You will construct a wonder that defies time, make scientific advances, develop commerce, manage your resources. So it might be pretty similar. I sometimes wish they would like differ more than the game they're like based on. Where it seems like it's very similar, but maybe the dice make a big difference compared to the cards that you're drafting. So that one's a big one. And then this was kind of funny. On April 1st, so April Fool's Day, the Dice Throne team released this video for a game called Slam Throne, where you have like stacks of tokens, and you take like a big, what do they call it here? A hero slammer, and you slam it down, trying to get some of the others to flip over. Kind of like Squid Game kind of vibe, where they're trying to get that envelope to flip over. And it wasn't an April Fool's joke. I totally thought it was. So they're actually making this game, Slam Throne. Love Dice Throne. I don't think I'll love Slam Throne, but props to them for doing something unique, for sure.
Yes, it's kind of weird when you like start throwing your pieces and like.
Yeah, it seems weird.
Very unique when a game has like a catapult or like rubber bands or like something.
Yep, I agree.
Some moving parts.
And then one more I just wanted to bring up. Will you send me that last one there? Yeah. The designer of this game is a Paul Dennen, and I think that's the reason I'm most excited about it. And it's being published by the same company that published his last biggest game, Dire Wolf, who I think published this game right here. Is that right? Dune Imperium. Yeah, Dire Wolf. Dune Imperium is one of the most like famous and popular games of the last 10 years. And so I'm excited to see what he does next, Paul Dennen, with this cool looking cover called Lightning Train. And it says here, steer your railway company through a land of strategic opportunity in the bag building train game, Lightning Train. I like bag building. It's kind of similar to deck building, where you're like getting new cards for your deck, and then you usually have to shuffle a lot, and you're hoping you get to draw those new cards that you got, so that your hand is better. In a similar idea, you like have a bag of stuff, and it starts with like kind of mediocre stuff in it, and you have some ways to get bad stuff out of your bag, and hopefully get really good stuff in your bag. But then you got to shake it, and you don't know if it's what you're going to pull. very popular mechanisms. Both of those are in board games. So I'm excited to see what that one does. Again, mostly because of the designer and the publisher combo, but Lightning Train. So those were 3 kind of big announcements this week, in my opinion. So that was a rapid fire board game news there. That brings us to the closing section for the day, Crowdfunding Corner. And I'm going to do a restart here with the intro, just because I can never remember what I say. It was the 16th. Yeah, here we go. That brings us to Crowdfunding Corner for the week of May 16th, 2025. We usually look at a few games a week, the ones that are most intriguing to me. I'm generally a Euro gamer, so it's a little rare for a game with like tons of miniatures that cost $300 to be on these lists for me. But and they're usually games that have campaigns that end in like the next 2 to, well, probably like 5 to 14 days. Some of these we covered last week, but that portion of the episode exploded itself. So we're going to re-go over a couple of them. I think there are 4 projects this week that we're going to look at. This first one is called Shallow Regrets. It's a like miniature version of Deep Regrets, which is a pretty hot game right now. I think mostly because the artwork is just so excellent. The game is like fun and pretty competent, and it's like cool to catch these wonky fish. But I do think a lot of the art does the heavy lifting. This is a partnership with Button Shy Games, and in similar fashion, you're trying to have like the best score by getting the most valuable cards in your hand. But this is played from 18 cards as opposed to like the 180 cards and the boards and the dice that are in the base game. So it comes in the wallet like most of Button Shy games do. And I think, like I said, the scoring mechanism here is your, just trying to have the best hand of valuable cards at the end of the game. It does come with a little expansion of 6 like extra cards, I believe. If I click here on, free expansion, 6 fraud cards, a rule book for that. So I don't know. Again, I think the artwork is just super awesome. Looks pretty cool. So that is Shallow Regrets. It's on Kickstarter. This one ends pretty soon, 58 hours on Saturday, May 17th. So the day after this airs. So you don't have much time.
Oh, yeah, true.
So again, since we planned to cover this one last week, it just didn't. Next up is Propagation Station, which is a little like tableau building game, all to do with plants and that kind of propagation. I don't know a lot about plants, but I do think they're cool when like I see them. But like,
yeah, that's where I'm at as well.
What were you saying this plant might be? The green and white leaves?
Monstera.
A monstera. Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know what that means, but that's cool.
I don't know either.
So yeah, Propagation Station. I think it's for 2 to 4 players. Wow, it's longer than I thought. 90 to 120 minutes. For some reason, this looked like 45 to 60 to me. But you bid, nurture, and strategize to grow the most efficient houseplant collection. And it says there's an auction where winning also means sharing. I think the main thing that I liked about this game is I thought it kind of looked like, probably reminded me of Earth, because Earth also has a lot to do with plants, but you're like building out your own player board here, and it seems kind of engine building in that way, where as you get more plants down, you're able to do more powerful actions. You have to put like lights on certain plants, and then the values on them add to like your growth and your hand limits and your propagation values and stuff. So lots of cool plant cards. If you like plants, I think it has a cool vibe. I like the muted colors quite a bit. I think like aesthetically, it's pleasing. So that's Propagation Station. There's also a fancy version with wooden pieces if that is your thing as well. And that one is on Kickstarter until the 19th, so till Monday. All right, then Night Soil. This is from Grail Games. I really like Grail Games. They're in Australia, and I feel like every time I look at one of their projects, I'm like, wow, that game looks like it has a bit more meat on it than I expected. the box is a little smaller than I expected, and the price is a little lower than I expected, which are like three great things to not expect and then
It's great
see.
news.
It's kind of a funny theme, and this one, before the plumbing system was like invented in this city, and I don't remember which city, in Tudor London, you are like working to move these poop cubes around. And I think one of the cool things about this game is you're kind of blocking each other, and no one owns the workers. They're not like Devin doesn't have blue ones, I don't have red ones. The workers are all like the same color, and we're kind of almost working together a little bit in that it's a shared board, but you want to make sure that you do things at the right time so that it benefits you more, and you can sometimes block your opponents as well. Has kind of this very quirky art style, but I really like it, to be honest. And yeah, I don't know. I think it looks cool. I also watched like a cool review on the game from a European uh, board game YouTuber that I really trust his opinion on. So I'm excited to, I don't know, at least read a little bit more about this one and hopefully give it a whirl one day. That's a Night Soil. If you ever wanted to play a game about the soil of the night, I guess that's a Night Soil, and it's on Kickstarter until the 20th. Then last up this week, this is the only one that we didn't cover last week, so we might talk about it for a little bit longer just because of that. But Flamecraft Duels, which I thought would be dual with an E, but it's like dual, like duality.
Interesting.
Yeah, but there is a reason for it. This is. Have you played Flamecraft with me, Devin? Game with the
I
Dragons?
know I've seen it many times,
Okay.
but I don't know.
It's a good game. I like Flamecraft a lot. This one, instead of like the dragons working in shops, it says like, what would the dragons do on their lunch breaks? And of course, they play like a game against each other. And this is that game. You're pulling dragon tiles from this bag, and then you're putting them on this grid, trying to make patterns that will like complete these contractor shop cards. The duel with an A part of the game is that there are, I think, 6 of the tokens that are like a dual dragon, a dragon that is 2 colors. And so those help you with the flexibility there quite a bit. I love the art. The artist is a lady named Sandara Tang, and she does like excellent artwork. I think it's what pulled me into Flamecraft originally, but it is like a pretty fun combo game. So this campaign is for that game, Flamecraft Duels, and I think it's $30. 2 players, 30 minutes. Has like an advanced variant you can play with the fountain cards and these cool metal tokens. The box kind of has like this buckle on the top, and it opens up, folds in half, and then the spot where it folds in half is actually the game board. So they show that, I think, down here in a second, maybe. Oh, you can kind of see it there. It like unfolds. So it's kind of like a small box that unfolds to be the game board. They're like cool, plasticky. I can't tell if they're acrylic, but pieces. So it's meant to be like really travel friendly in that way. So that looks cool. The other part of this is they also have an expansion for base Flamecraft. It's called, after this other bonus stuff they have for that. Let me see. It's down here. Oh, I thought so. Where are you? Flamecraft expansions. It's called Dragons and Dragons, which is kind of funny, I guess. Is that a play on Dungeons and Dragons? Probably. Has 15 new dragon cards for Flamecraft that also have that dual kind of coloring, and all 15 of them have like a unique special ability on the bottom, which is cool because in the game all of the cards of one color have the same. And I think you take 6 of them and shuffle them into the deck. So of the 15, you choose 6, shuffle them in. Then there's like a new board that overlays so that the park section operates a little bit differently. Some new shop cards, and this new kind of scale called an upscale mechanic as well. So add hopefully some good variety and complexity to Flamecraft. There's also 7 new companion dragons, which is cool. So quite a bit in there. Excited for that stuff. And then also the duels, like 2-player head-to-head game. You can get just duels for $30 or just the Flamecraft expansion for $20. Or you can get them bundled together for $50. You also get like a cool set of promo cards for Flamecraft if you do the bundle. The nice thing about the bundle is it's like $14 for shipping, whereas these two above are like $13 each for shipping. So the main pull there is if you get them both together, they'll ship them in one box for you, so they save on shipping and you save on shipping, and you get the promo dragons. Or you can get the super hardcore horde box and get some plushies and an art book as well. Again, her art's awesome. So yeah, that's Flamecraft Duels with the 2-player abstract game and the expansion to base Flamecraft. It's on Kickstarter for 6 more days until Wednesday of next week, May 21st. Devin, that brings us to Crowdfunding Corner. Nope. That brings us to pick of the week is what I meant to say.
Oh, man. After we covered this last week, I'm trying to remember what I chose. I think I'm just going to go with Propagation Station because of its unique aesthetic.
Yeah.
And
I like it.
That's why.
I think the aesthetic looks really cool. I also like the way the player board looks with like the inlaid sections, and it seems like you're kind of building out around it, so it will feel like, hey, I'm filling this area with plants and like my own special abilities. So I agree. I do think that one looks cool. I don't know. I think that I'm very. You can see I've already pledged to Flamecraft, so
Oh, yeah, you have.
I'm a little like biased to that one because I have Flamecraft. I think it's like a good entry level game, and if this adds a little complexity to that, like I'm all for it. But I'm gonna give my pick of the week to Night Soil. I think Grail does great stuff. I know a little bit less about this one, but just because I've had a good experience with them in the past, I'd be like, I don't know, I'm a bit more like forgiving about it in that way, and I think it looks cool.
Do you think they set it in Tutor London for a reason?
I wonder.
See what I'm saying?
Tutor.
Is this a game about poo?
Yeah, they are going in with the puns, right? It's a very mature game about sanitation, and I think they say here it's like, what do they say here? It's the number 2 best, the number 2 most unique theme in board games. So yeah, maybe they did. I wonder if there's some historical reason that like something like this actually happened in an area and they had to like physically move this, excrement around. I'm not sure. I should probably know more about history, but I don't. So yeah, I'm gonna give my pick of the week to Night Soil, but Flamecraft could have gone as well. Propagation Station looks cool too, and then Shallow Regrets. I'm not always a fan of Button Shy, but some of their games are really cool that they can do so much with 18 cards. So that's going to do it for Crowdfunding Corner for the week of May 16th, 2025. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure to check in next week for episode 60 of Crowdfunding Corner. Devin, that's going to do it for episode 59 of the podcast. Kind of a long one, to be honest.
Whoa.
A little bit of catch up from last week. I feel like, what else? I feel like I talked too much. What else did we go?
You killed it.
What took so long? I don't know. But we're going to get out of here so that Devin can go to bed. And see you next week for episode 60. Make sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/supergamebrothers. The giveaway at supergamebrothers.com. Devin on Twitch at Player4 and TikTok. And he also streams on our YouTube channel, Super Game Brothers. So check out all the things, and we'll see you next time.